Okay, so point number one about your strike and controlling the low point. We are taught in trap play that you've got to stand open to the bunker shots. I don't agree with this, because one of the key things that we've got to do with a trap shot is get the weight forward. If we are open here with the stance, we've got nothing to lean against, okay? So I actually want you to feel that your stance is actually a little bit closed to the target. Now we can actually lean and plant on the left side, okay? So those three tips, I'm going to get a prop here. We're going to talk about number one, which is where you place the sternum and the weight. Here we go, boom. Right, so if I place this down where the ball is, the reason why we don't have an open stance is I cannot now lean left. I've got nothing to go into, right? So what I'm actually going to suggest is you stand a little bit closed. Now, because you've got your front foot forward, I can brace and I can stay there. All right, so that's the first thing. Look at where my sternum is. Touch your sternum here. It's the middle of your chest, that bone there. We want that on the ball, okay? So there's consistency tip number one. Make sure that the sternum is on the ball, but do it with a closed stance. Consistency tip number two, I see so many of you making backswings that are so long with a ton of wrist cock at the top, right? That is very inconsistent because you've got to recover that. If you look at Jason Day, who is one of the best pitchers and bunker players on the planet, you will notice that actually he is very wide on the way back and doesn't have a lot of wrist set, okay? So consistency tip number two is to make sure when you're taking it away, actually encourage a wider kind of base, a wider base to the swing, and don't start picking it up and getting narrow. And then lastly, the touch shot. Look at this. I've got a bank, it's running away from me, and I've got Agua Syngas behind me. So I've got to make sure I've got the three consistencies in this shot, and the touch is coming from the fact that I'm not going to have a long follow through. I'm only going to hit this shot and stop here. Okay, let's see if I can do it. So a little shot stance, weight on the left side. I'm going to go pretty wide. There's my tip, number two, and then cut the finish position off. Let's see how I do here. And you'll notice that should break a little bit that way. Now, to leave that short of that flag is nothing more than a miracle. Let's do it again. Okay, number one, shut stance, weight on the left. There's my sternum on the ball. Consistency tip number two is wide. Don't let it break down. And then I'm just going to cut the finish position off in the follow through. Here we go. Okay, that's actually a better shot.